I had what I call a villain arc. I'm not proud of what I did, but I did it to restore my mind, to restore everything that I destroyed, and to create a new version of me who's better, stronger, and smarter than who I was back then. Welcome to the Successful Teen Podcast. My name is Shimon Futima. I've created this podcast to inspire teens to succeed in life. I've always lived my life as the main character, and I presume you all have lived your lives as the main character, or presume that you do live as a main character. Today, I'm here to tell you you're not. If you don't have these things sorted out in your life. Most people think that they're the main character in their own lives. They have their own life, they have their own spotlight, and they all think that the attention that everyone gives is on them. But as we know now, this isn't true. Everyone has their own stories. Everyone has their own problems. Everyone thinks that they're the main character, but some also think they're not. So why is it that some think that we are the main characters and some people think that they're NPCs, non-playable characters in a game? Most of the time, when we try to do something big, let's say we have a dream that we want to accomplish in life, and we dream of it every single day, and we want to accomplish it. But the second we try to act and do the things that we didn't want to do to accomplish those dreams, we get lazy. Why is that? Why is it when we want to accomplish something, a big dream, our careers that we always wanted to have, but we get lazy and we rather procrastinate instead of achieving that goal? For many years, this really interested me. Why is it that I would rather be lazy and procrastinate instead of doing the things that I had to do to have a happy life? Because we all know to have a happy life, you need to have achievements throughout your life. If your life is boring, obviously you can have a happy life, but you won't feel that achievement that you can do anything, which give you pride, which also leads you to happiness because you know what you can accomplish. We see these goals, these dreams, so high, like Mountain Everest. We're right on the bottom and we're looking at this dream, Mountain Everest. And we get discouraged by this because the goal is too high to achieve. So why is it that we put these goals so high up that it seems impossible to accomplish? It's because we don't plan. We don't plan our way to success. We only dream of it. This is why planning is a very important part of achieving success. But there is a problem with this. People know that they have to plan to achieve success. But why don't they? People imagine these dreams and get motivated, but then get lazy and procrastinate. Even if the goals are planned, they still procrastinate because they can't and don't want to do the things that they don't want to do to achieve that success, that goal. And we can say that you have a broken mind because of this. Look in the past. Every time you didn't want to do something and you didn't, why did that happen? Why did we not achieve those hard points, those stepping stones to achieving success? Why did we get lazy and procrastinate? Most people procrastinate and get lazy before doing something. And these habits get piled up one after another, making a giant effect which creates a habit, a bad habit. And because of this, you've just created a bad habit that when you don't want to do something, you just don't do it. When you have to do it, obviously you do it. But the core here is that you taught your mind into thinking that if you don't want to do it, you don't, even if it sacrifices your dream of success. And the question is always, how can you be the main character of your life if you don't have a story that is good enough that you're proud of it? Most people have stories of their past that are depressing, boring, and lazy, and they always procrastinate. But if we switch that and start acting, changing those things, doing the things you don't want to do, doing the things you never imagined of doing, and making goals and planning your way to achieve success and actually acting, will make you a good story that when you don't want to do something in the present or in the future, you look back in your past and you see how much you have accomplished, and you use that motivation to keep going. We all have bad days sometimes where we just don't want to do anything. You just want to lay down and just be lazy for a day. Let's be honest. These days occur a lot. That's why we have these past stories to motivate us in the present. If we do what we don't want to do in the past and we just keep on doing it, we have a story to motivate us in the present. This is why most people lose motivation after a week of doing something that's hard. It's because they don't have a history of doing hard things and they quit after doing something hard. And therefore, they never accomplish their success, their dreams. This is why when you want to be the main character of your life, you need to change the story. Ask yourself this right now. What is your story? How many times did you do what you didn't want to do? How many times did you exceed the limit even though you didn't have to? This all will pile up and make a good habit, therefore creating motivation and discipline in the present. The reason why I can say this is that I also have my own story that I created 1 year ago. Around this time, in December, January, and February, I had what I call a villain arc. I'm not proud of what I did, but I did it to restore my mind, to restore everything that I destroyed, and to create a new version of me. who's better, stronger, and smarter than who I was back then. Every single day, I would wake up at 4 a.m. and go for a 10-kilometer run to the gym, working out 3 hours, and then running back home 10 kilometers. And I would do this every single day. I was so destroyed after that I created a new version of me. I would not recommend anyone to do this, but it's the most effective way of destroying and recreating yourself. The reason why it was so hard for me to do this is not because of how much energy I used, how much calories I burned every single day, even though I ate less than what I burnt. I used affirmations while running. And these affirmations weren't, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to be a billionaire, I'm going to be happy, or any other positive affirmations. I would use negative affirmations, which again, I would not advise anyone to use. People in the military, in the army, they use negative affirmations to destroy the person's mindset. They tell them that they're lazy, that they can't do anything, that they're nothing in life. Most people don't like telling them that they're lazy and they're nothing and they're pathetic. But what's worse than that is yourself telling yourself that you are pathetic, that you are a soldier with no emotions, that feels pain and still deals with it. Every single time I think of this 2 months arc, 3 months arc I had, I get quite emotional because I knew what I did then. I destroyed my mind, destroyed my body, and destroyed my peace. I destroyed everything to recreate myself and become a better version. I've learned something from that experience. I've learned what my body could achieve and what my mind could achieve. Even if everything else is getting destroyed in my life, I know I can still keep going because of that experience. I still remember when I couldn't wake up at 4 a.m. I didn't want to go for a run. My legs were in so much pain that I couldn't even walk, but I still did it. This taught me that I can do anything. But now, how can we implement changing your life from being a non-playable character, as in a video game, to a person who is the main character of everyone's story? The first rule is to make everything your fault. You're fat, it's your fault. You're depressed, it's your fault. If you're not rich and successful and happy, it's your fault. Look in the past and see yourself every time you failed and ask why it happened and what you did wrong. I'll give you one of my situations I had in my life that I had to blame myself. I had to ask myself hundreds of questions on why and what I did wrong. I saw a pretty girl out in public, and I liked her. Never talked to her, never seen her before, didn't even know her name. And this is what we call a cold approach. Go into a girl that we like and asking them for an Instagram or phone number, or even having a chat. This is the first time I've ever cold approached a girl and asked for an Instagram. After a few tries of going to different girls who I liked and asking, I started to learn more and more. Some said yes, some said no. But let's go to this particular girl, the first time I've ever asked someone for their Instagram. A cold call. I've walked up to her. I said this. Now don't get me wrong. I did not want to know what to say, but I knew I had to say something. I came up to her, said hi. I asked for her name. I said she was pretty and asked if I could get Instagram. At the end of this conversation, I did get her Instagram, but I knew she wasn't into me. Now I had to ask hundreds of questions. Why did that not work out? Why didn't she say yes? And what I can do next to accomplish this. Accomplish a better cold approach. Most men or women would cold approach, get rejected, and they would never do it again. Not me. After I knew she wasn't into me, I smiled for the next 2 hours because I knew I accomplished something that most people wouldn't. And I analyzed every single word I said and every single action I did and see what I could do better. Now the problem was the clothes I wore, the way I looked, the way I said the things, the way I introduced myself, the way I asked her for her Instagram. All these things made her not like me. Now I know how to approach. But back then I had to go and just do it to learn from my mistakes. And that's exactly what I did. And the more and more I did this, the more I learned. Same as me going to networking events. I learned on how to talk to people. As you know, if you listen to my last podcast, I like to talk to people in English. So what I did next is started to cold approach girls speaking English, which gives me a bigger advantage. You need to make yourself the main character by learning from your mistakes. The way you can actually accomplish this at a fast rate is to detach yourself from everyone and make everything your fault and fix yourself. The way I did it is making myself lonely. I created this loneliness and I fixed everything that was bad in my life. Not everything is fixed just yet, but most of it is fixed. And I feel better and happier because of it. But if you want to know on how and what to actually improve in your life, you can use the PEMS method. You can click the link video right here to watch how to take control back of your life. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you soon.